Hello, welcome to the Polyglot Files. My name is Michael, and today we're doing a video about a question I get asked a lot. Will I learn Esperanto? Last month, I did a Q&A live stream for reaching 10,000 subscribers, and one of the viewers asked me about the current languages that I was studying and the languages that I wanted to study in the future. Naturally, the topic of Esperanto and constructed languages came up. At the time, I did a little bit of babbling because I was a little bit overwhelmed by the fact that I was doing a live stream, but I found that I didn't really answer the question as well as I wanted to, nor did I express myself really clearly. So today, I thought that I would expand on the topic and answer the question more fully. But before I address Esperanto specifically, let's delve into the world of conlangs. Firstly, the word conlang is a portmanteau of the two words constructed and language. In essence, a conlang is an artificial language that has been consciously created by human beings instead of being a result of language evolution, like natural languages. Conlangs have been created for multiple reasons over the years. For experimentation, for language games, for technology, and even for fictional universes. In fact, we are surrounded by conlangs. For example, you may have heard someone speak, or you may yourself speak a language called Pig Latin, which is used to communicate secret information without other people knowing what's going on. In Act Fe, I ixpe igpe aten lei as aime eventse language lei. Me and my cousins used to speak it when we wanted to tell each other secrets behind our parents' backs. We also have conlangs that have been created for television shows and movies and books. For example, we have Elvish from The Lord of the Rings, as well as High Valyrian and Dothraki that are spoken in Game of Thrones. And while there are hundreds, if not thousands of conlangs that have been created over the years, I wanted to focus today on one conlang in particular, Esperanto. Esperanto is a constructed language that was created in the late 1800s by L.L. Zamenhof. Zamenhof's original purpose for Esperanto was to create an international auxiliary language, namely one that could be learned, and I can't do that word. Auxiliary. That's a tough word. Auxiliary. Zamenhof's original purpose for Esperanto was to create an international auxiliary language, namely one that could be learned and spoken by people all over the world in order to lead to greater global communication, understanding, and cooperation. In fact, in order to achieve a language that was both easy to learn as well as universal for all of mankind, Zamenhof combined many elements of different languages as well as language families. For example, Esperanto is said to have taken majority of its vocabulary from Germanic and Romance languages, majority of its syntax and sentence structure from Romance languages as well, and a vast amount of its semantics and phonology from Slavic languages. Further, Esperanto's grammar was made simple on purpose so that it would be easy for people to learn. In fact, by doing this, in theory, Zamenhof created a language that large groups of people could use in order to more efficiently communicate with each other, and it worked. Today, there are more than 2 million speakers of Esperanto worldwide, and a surprising number of them speak it natively. Almost 1,000 people have been born speaking Esperanto from birth. So with all of that said, it's time to answer the question I posed at the beginning of the video. Will I learn Esperanto? And at risk of being controversial, I am going to say no. At least not right now. And here's why. Number 1, I will not learn Esperanto because it didn't achieve the primary goal that L.L. Zamenhof had for it. When Zamenhof first created Esperanto, he dreamed of a world where Esperanto was the lingua franca, or where everybody spoke Esperanto and it was used in all aspects of life, from business to shopping to education. Unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. In fact, I already arguably speak the lingua franca of the world, English. In this sense, Zamenhof's proposed language has more or less failed. Even though he had the best of intentions trying to unite large groups of people with a common language, Esperanto wasn't that language, and that's not necessarily his fault, but that kind of takes the reason for me learning it out of the equation. Number 2, I won't learn Esperanto right now because it lacks a true speech community. What I mean by that is, when I learn a language like French or German, I know that somewhere out there in the world, there is a country, there is a city, there is a community that speaks these languages. With Esperanto, that's just not the case. Sure, there are places on the internet and there are conventions that I can go to where I can speak Esperanto with other Esperanto speakers. However, I think it might be a little bit harder to find Esperanto speakers, let alone Esperanto speakers who have learned the same dialect or the same speech pattern that I have learned. Number 3, and this reason is a little bit more philosophical than the previous practical reasons I gave. I do not believe in artificially simplifying a language so that it can fit humankind's needs. Right now, in the language learning community, we have technologies that you can slot into your ear and then other people can speak to you in their language and you can get it interpreted and said to you so that you can speak to them in their language, which will then get interpreted and sent to them. I believe that that's lazy, and I believe that that's losing an important opportunity to learn a foreign language, to learn a foreign culture, and to understand the world. What does that have to do with Esperanto? Well, I believe that with language death threatening many languages around the world, I would rather learn a language that is on the brink of extinction rather than a language that was created to replace the need to learn other languages. Because at the end of the day, while Zamenhof's intentions for Esperanto were great, at the same time, I think that if he put the effort into preserving the languages we already have, potentially they would still be alive. Now I know that that's not fair. One man can't save all the languages. I don't think Zamenhof should have completely abandoned the idea of creating Esperanto so that he could learn a language that only had 100 speakers. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I personally don't want to learn a constructed language when there are many natural languages out there that could use 1 or 2 extra speakers. However, I did want to say that I don't judge anybody who does learn Esperanto. If you are somebody out there and you are learning a language and that language happens to be Esperanto, I do not want to discourage you from doing that. Everybody has their own reason for learning languages. I have my own reason for learning languages. If you have a reason to learn Esperanto, in fact, I'm excited for you. I think learning a language is magnificent, and it doesn't matter what language it is at the end of the day. These are just my reasons for why I don't want to learn Esperanto right now. Besides, you should take my opinion with a grain of salt. I'm just a guy sitting in a basement with fancy studio lights talking to a camera. So I mean, yeah. Alright, that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope that we can have a productive conversation about Esperanto in the comment section, and I'm really sorry if I've offended anybody or made somebody's language learning journey feel trivial, but these are just my thoughts, and I get this question a lot, so I figured it was worth spending some time talking about it. You can check me out on social media. I have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and as usual, thank you for watching the Polyglot Files. I will see you next time. Goodbye!